an AI tour of the Hungarian capital. Is that the way to see Budapest? Honesty time then. The original plan for this video was to take you around Budapest as part of an excursion that I had with the river cruise that I am on. However, I'll be honest, it was not the best experience. There was a couple of really good moments and I'll share those with you. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to have a walk around central Budapest. But what I did is I asked Gemini AI to list some places to go to, which it's done. The only thing I was very insistent on was that one of the places that I wanted to go to had to be top of the list, and that's where we're going to go first. As we begin the walk to our first location, let's cut away to that tour from earlier on. This was a good bit. This was the visit all the way up to the heights up there and the view over the city. Buda Castle. Now I got up here thanks to the tour bus, some stairs and a lift round the back of the building. However, you can use the Budapest Castle Hill funicular. The views though from the castle are well worth your time getting up here to take in the Hungarian capital. So as you can see, the heights are certainly worth visiting to get that picture. You don't have to do a tour, you don't have to do a bus, as you saw maybe on there. A little bit of footage. There is a funicular up there that you can use. I'm not sure what the cost is, but it's a pretty easy way to get up there. That is a big dirty grey cloud coming in. We are warned of rain coming in the next hour or so. Hopefully we can get around most of this route without getting too wet. However, it's probably famous last words, and I'll be looking like a drowned rat. The memorial in front of us is of 60 iron pairs of shoes, and that's because at this point, at the end of 1944 and 1945, Jews were brought here by the Arrow Cross militia. They were forced to take off their shoes because that had value for resale. They were then shot and their bodies were thrown into the river. It was certainly moving to be there. The number of people that are stopped there taking in the scene, and that bit of sculpture with the shoes has made sure those victims are well remembered. Next up, the building we saw from the view, Hungary's Parliament building. Time to leave the Parliament building behind us and head back into the city. I think there's another little quest in my head now. Need to find an ice cream shop in the next few minutes. By the way, the rain feels like it's getting a little closer. Actually, before we head that way, let's take another closer look at the other side of the Parliament building. I know what you're thinking, that Hungarian Parliament does look rather like the UK one. Well, it was inspired by the UK Parliament. But one thing really did strike me when I was in Budapest: trams. There were rather a lot of them. You'll have to let me know what you make of my arty photography of the Parliament building. Looking at it here, I'm not so sure, so stick a note in the comments to the video. I'd love to know if you think I'm a future fantastic filmographer or if I need to keep working. I can hear them behind me. Anyway, right, we're going to have a little walk through town and we're going to try and find some ice cream, and we're also going to finish at one of the main sites here in Budapest. But whilst I continue on by way, let's rewind a little bit to earlier in the day. We've already been up to the heights from my earlier trip around Budapest. There was one other place that we went to, and we can go there now. Yes, welcome to Heroes Square, built to celebrate the 1000th anniversary of the Magyar conquest. On either side of it is the Museum of Fine Arts and also the Hall of Art. We weren't there too long, but we did have time to just go behind the main memorial to see the lake and this castle. So yes, that is over on the other side of the city, off in that direction. I think you can get public transport out there if you want to have a look. Like I said, I used the excursion from the river cruise that I'm on. But enough of all of that. Let's head in search of ice cream. Yes, ice cream. Well, that was a nice surprise, wasn't it? Bumping into Ronald Reagan, albeit his statue just in sight of the Hungarian Parliament behind us. If you're new to the channel with this video, you won't know that this video is part of a series on board a river cruise from Vienna all the way to the Black Sea. Next up, we're heading to the plains in Hungary to see their version of the cowboys. So if you want to see that and future videos from the likes of Bucharest, hit subscribe now to not miss out. That behind me, Hill Bandholtz. He was a general in the American Army, and at the end of World War I in 1919 he stopped Romanian troops from looting the Hungarian National Museum. His reward? A place in Liberty Square. 20,000 steps today apparently already, so I definitely need that reward now of an ice cream. Not far to go now. I don't know if you saw that right at the end, but there's a little gap that will appear and you can walk into the middle of the fountain, then the water will come back, and then you need to try and guess where another gap will appear so you can get out. Are they going to be brave enough? If you're wondering, other than the walking, about getting around the city, I've used Ubers, and to be honest they've been pretty reliable and reasonably inexpensive. I'll put on the screen below me exactly, crossing the road, exactly how much an Uber has cost me from where the boat that I'm on is into here. It's about a mile and a half or so, and the details are on the screen now of how much that's cost me. Well, it isn't far now for the ice cream, and after that it really isn't very far at all to the final destination of this walk around Budapest. Hi, can I pay both with my card?
Yeah, of course.
I'll have the medium.
2,200 please.
That's so scary to hear 2,000.
Yeah, I know. I mean, for us,
I know.
it's also a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the same as for you.
Can I have chocolate, raspberry, and pistachio? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, thank you. So I really didn't know what to expect. It's called Gelarto Rosa. Rosa obviously I assume is rose or flower, and I've never seen somebody take so long putting ice cream on a cone for you, but wow, what a sight.
5 minutes later.
All I can say is genuinely, and I know I've got recency bias saying this, that is the best ice cream on a cone I have ever had. It looked fantastic, didn't it? The chocolate, the pistachio and the raspberry together, amazing. I'll put in the details below, like I always do, the locations that I go, and I'll include that ice cream parlour, because if you come to Budapest you've definitely got to try it. So look, I'm really paranoid that when I see these images back I'm going to have ice cream around my face. Anyway, enough of that. Let's leave you with the final shot for this video. St. Stephen's Basilica. So look, the lesson from this video is pretty clear, isn't it? Yes, go on excursions with whichever cruise company you go with on the Danube or elsewhere, but don't just rely on that. Certainly if I had just relied on my excursion, I wouldn't have got to see quite as much of Budapest. If you'd like to see more videos from my time aboard the river cruise, hit subscribe now. Also on there is a playlist of videos where you can catch up with my journey so far.